Welcome back to the Legal Brief, the show where we crush the various legal myths and misinformation surrounding various areas of the gun world. I'm your host, Adam Kraut, and today we're going to find out what's really going on with that June 2016 Explosives newsletter, or the thing that's causing everybody to freak out about what's going on with gunpowder.
RE-Factor Tactical is now giving you an excuse to get rid of those lame motivational posters with beautiful images like Warry Night, Colonial Maritime Raid, Predator Scream, and my personal favorite, Violence is the Answer, as well as a whole host of others on the horizon. You will definitely find one to fit your decor. To get 10% off these and anything else you order, use the code TGC10 at refactortactical.com.
Before we get started today, I just want to let you guys know that I'm running for the NRA Board of Directors this coming year, and I need your help. For more information, check out adamkraut.com. And real quick, I just want to give a shout out to the Gemtech R&D team. I know they're watching, and it was great meeting you guys. So what's the deal with this newsletter? While the internet was buzzing with information that ATF had just banned ammunition, the newsletter actually stated that ATF had only been asked a question about nitrocellulose under the federal explosives laws and regulations. The newsletter didn't reference any kind of ban or anything of a sort, actually. It did contain verbiage that people misconstrued, and you know how the internet works. Panic! Ah! ATF stated that nitrocellulose, which contained 12.6% or greater nitrogen content, was a high explosive under the regulation, and as such must be stored in either a Type 1 or Type 2 magazine. For those that don't know what a magazine is, it's an actual physical area to store explosives material in a safe manner, and it's not one of these, and I hear these are like gold, so... The idea is that if something goes boom, it's not going to go boom in a manner that destroys an entire city block. The newsletter went on to state that the Department of Transportation may assign a non-explosives classification to nitrocellulose that has been wetted with either water or alcohol. ATF explains that because when nitrocellulose is wetted, it diminishes the likelihood of an explosion in a transportation accident. However, the newsletter continues because the explosive characteristics remain when the water or alcohol is removed, the wetted compound remains an explosive subject to the licensing, safety, and storage requirements of the Safe Explosives Act, or SEA, and its regulations. So what does this have to do with ammunition? Well, the smokeless powder we all know and love contains nitrocellulose. In fact, there's primarily two kinds you're going to find on the open market, and a third kind that's generally reserved for large caliber munitions like naval warships and artillery guns. There are single-base smokeless powders which just contain nitrocellulose, there are double-base ones which contain nitrocellulose and nitroglycerin, and then there's the third kind which contains nitrocellulose, nitroglycerin, and I'm sure I'm going to screw this one up, nitroguanidine. Since the last one's primarily used in those large caliber munitions, you'll likely never see it. Unless you reload those calibers, in which case pick up the phone and give me a call. If ATF were to classify all nitrocellulose as an explosive for the purposes of the SEA, that would create all kinds of issues for gun owners. Under the SEA, explosives are required to be stored in magazines, and remember, not the kind you load ammunition into, have special transportation requirements and other things regulating them. Not to mention, it is also unlawful for any person who's not a licensee or permit holder to transport, ship, cause to be transported, or receive any kinds of explosive materials. You can find more information about the licensing, permits, magazines, including the construction of them, at the links down in the description. So people read that nitrocellulose was now more heavily regulated, and because it's a primary component in smokeless gunpowder, they believed that ATF had just banned ammunition through a backdoor regulatory measure. However, ATF released an addendum to this newsletter in their August edition, which stated that the industry had brought issues to ATF's attention that it had not considered. Shocking, right? ATF not considering something before they do it? Amazing. Accordingly, ATF was going to continue to conduct further outreach concerning the issue with the industry. In the interim, previously authorized industry practices relating to wetted nitrocellulose would remain in effect. So what does all this nonsense actually mean? Well, first, ATF hasn't banned ammunition, they haven't banned gunpowder, they haven't banned anything. So stop believing what you read on the internet. Only listen to me. I am the Minister of Information. That's another clickbait title to get traffic to a website that doesn't deserve it anyway. As usual, ATF has done something without thinking of the unintended consequences, and in this instance, they actually backpedaled a bit. We'll see what ATF does in the future here with regard to this once they clarify it after further thought. Yeah, thinking something ATF never does. So for now, buy cheap and stack deep. What I want to know, and maybe one of you, the viewers, is going to know the answer to this, what's the nitrogen content of nitrocellulose in smokeless gunpowder that we buy over the counter? Is it over that threshold of 12.6% or is it under that? While this whole thing may be an issue down the line, it is possible that it may affect the industry more so than the individual with regard to compliance and storage. Obviously, if it only affected the industry, the consumer would likely see a bump in the prices of powder and ammunition. So if one of you guys knows the answer to my question, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. I went to law school and chemistry wasn't exactly my strong suit.
Hold up. You guys didn't think I would let you get away that easy. I have an announcement. Adam and I did a little contest to have a youth shooter come join us at a charity event for the Boy Scouts, and Christopher Moore is going to be our winner. He and his daughter Mackenzie are going to drive down from Rhode Island and join Adam and I and another person for a day of shooting sporting clays and all kinds of other shenanigans. It's going to be a lot of fun, and thanks to those that entered. Now back to Adam.
Hopefully that gives you guys a brief overview of the nitrocellulose issue. If you guys like this episode, you know what to do. Hit that big old like button down below and share it around with your friends to help spread the knowledge. Have a question you want answered on the show? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like the Gun Collective on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Full30, Snapchat, and wherever else you can catch us on social media. And as always, thanks for watching.
The shirts worn in today's episode of The Legal Brief have been provided by Patriot Patch. Click the link in the description to learn more.